The autumn rain pelted the sidewalk as Zara Chen hurried down the busy street, her portfolio clutched tightly against her chest to shield it from the downpour. Today was the culmination of years of culinary school, countless burns on her arms and sleepless nights perfecting recipes. At 28, she was finally interviewing for a sous chef position at Lumiere, the most prestigious French restaurant in Portland. "You've got this," she whispered to herself, checking her watch. The interview was at 2:30 p.m. and it was only 1:15. She had given herself plenty of buffer time, knowing Chef Pascal Beaumont's reputation for punctuality. Being even a minute late would mean automatic disqualification. The rain intensified as Zara ducked under the awning of a small cafe to check her appearance one last time. Her dark hair was still neatly secured in a professional bun, and her chef's jacket remained crisp and white beneath her raincoat. She adjusted her glasses and took a deep breath, trying to calm the butterflies in her stomach. "Just 6 more blocks," she murmured, stepping back into the rain with determination. 3 blocks later, Zara heard a crash and shouts coming from a small market she was passing. She hesitated, glancing at her watch, still plenty of time. The commotion grew louder, punctuated by what sounded like someone in distress. Against her better judgment, Zara stepped into the market to find an elderly shopkeeper gesturing frantically at a tall man who stood helplessly beside several toppled display shelves. Jars of preserves and spices lay shattered across the floor, their contents creating a vibrant, fragrant mess. "I said I'll pay for everything," the man was saying, his voice strained. "Please, I just need some help." The shopkeeper, an older gentleman with silver hair, continued shouting in what sounded like Mandarin. Zara recognized it immediately. Her grandmother had spoken the same dialect. "Excuse me," Zara interjected, approaching them both. "I speak Mandarin. Can I help?" The relief on both men's faces was immediate. The shopkeeper began explaining rapidly that the tall stranger had accidentally knocked over his most expensive imported spices while having some kind of medical episode. He wasn't angry about the mess, but concerned about the man's health. Zara turned to the stranger, really seeing him for the first time. He was strikingly handsome with warm brown skin, closely cropped black hair, and eyes that seemed to shift between green and gold. His expensive suit was now stained with saffron and smelled strongly of cardamom. "He says you looked unwell before the accident. Are you okay?" Zara asked. The man nodded, though his face was pale. "I have hypoglycemia. My blood sugar dropped suddenly and I got dizzy. I tried to lean on the shelf, but..." He gestured at the chaos. Zara immediately opened her bag and pulled out a protein bar she'd packed for after the interview. "Eat this now. It'll help." While he ate, she translated for the shopkeeper, who insisted on making the man sit down while he prepared sweet tea. Zara stayed, helping clean up the mess and cataloging the damaged items to ensure proper compensation. The man, who introduced himself as Elijah West, gradually regained his color. "You speak Mandarin beautifully," Elijah commented as his condition improved. "My grandmother taught me," Zara replied, glancing at her watch. It was 1:40 p.m. "I'm keeping you from something," Elijah observed, following her glance. "I have a job interview at Lumiere at 2:00, she admitted. "But I still have time." The shopkeeper returned with tea for all of them, insisting they sit for a moment. As they sipped the sweet beverage, Elijah studied Zara curiously. "Lumiere? With Chef Beaumont? You know him?" Zara asked, surprised. Elijah's expression shifted slightly. "I know of him. He's particular." "That's putting it mildly," Zara laughed. "His reputation for perfectionism is legendary." They continued talking as Elijah's health improved. When the bill was settled and the shopkeeper satisfied, Zara suddenly realized it was 1:55 p.m. Lumiere was still 3 blocks away. "I have to run," she exclaimed, gathering her things. "Let me drive you," Elijah offered immediately. "It's the least I can do." Outside, he pointed to a sleek electric car parked illegally at the curb. Zara hesitated only briefly before climbing in, knowing each second was precious. As Elijah navigated the rain-slicked streets, she couldn't help but notice how his hands trembled slightly on the steering wheel. "Are you sure you're okay to drive?" she asked. "I'm fine now, thanks to you," he assured her with a smile that transformed his serious face. But fate had other plans. As they turned onto the street where Lumiere was located, they found it blocked by construction that hadn't been there yesterday. No cars could pass through. I'll have to run for it, Zara decided, checking her watch one final time. It was 1:59 p.m. She would be cutting it impossibly close. As she reached for the door handle, Elijah touched her arm lightly. Wait, I know another way. The price of compassion, another way? Zara asked, hope flaring briefly before she glanced at her watch again. 2:01 p.m. Her stomach sank. It doesn't matter now. I'm already late, Elijah frowned, putting the car in reverse. Chef Beaumont can't possibly reject you for being 2 minutes late due to unexpected construction. You don't know Pascal Beaumont, Zara sighed, slumping back into the leather seat. His first rule is punctuality. He believes it reflects a chef's discipline in the kitchen. Despite her protest, Elijah navigated through side streets with surprising determination. When they arrived at Lumiere's elegant entrance at 2:07 p.m., Zara knew her chance was gone. Still, she couldn't bring herself to give up without trying. Thank you for the ride, she said, gathering her portfolio, and I hope you're feeling better. Let me come with you, Elijah offered suddenly. Maybe I can explain. That's kind. But this is my responsibility, Zara replied with a sad smile. The restaurant's interior was a study in understated luxury, cream-colored walls, crystal chandeliers and tables draped in pristine white linen. At the host stand, a woman in a tailored black suit regarded Zara with cool professionalism. I have an interview with Chef Beaumont at 2:00, Zara explained, trying to keep her voice steady. I know I'm late, but there was construction and… Chef Beaumont no longer takes the appointment, the hostess interrupted, her French accent clipping the words. He was quite clear that 2:00 meant 2:00, not 2:07. Zara felt the floor shift beneath her. 7 minutes had cost her everything. Could I possibly reschedule? Chef does not reschedule missed appointments, the hostess replied, already turning her attention elsewhere. Outside, the rain had stopped, but Zara felt colder than before. She found Elijah waiting beside his car, concern evident in his expression. No luck? None, Zara confirmed, her voice hollow. 7 minutes late equals career opportunity gone. They stood in awkward silence before Elijah spoke again. Let me buy you coffee or tea, or something stronger if you prefer. Zara almost declined, but the thought of returning to her small apartment to face her roommate Jade's inevitable questions about the interview was unbearable. Coffee would be nice. They found a quiet cafe a few blocks away, nestled between a bookstore and an art gallery. As they settled into a corner table, Zara realized how exhausted she felt. I should be angry, she said after ordering, at the construction, at Chef Beaumont's rigidity, at myself for stopping to help at the market. She looked up at Elijah. But I'm not. I'd make the same choice again. Elijah studied her, something unreadable in his expression. Most people wouldn't. My grandmother would have, Zara replied simply. She always said that kindness matters more than ambition. Your grandmother sounds wise. She was. She raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 12. Zara wasn't sure why she was sharing this with a stranger, but something about Elijah invited confidence. Their conversation flowed easily as afternoon faded into evening. Zara learned that Elijah worked in technology and had recently moved to Portland from Seattle. He asked thoughtful questions about her culinary background and seemed genuinely impressed by her knowledge of international cuisine. I should go, Zara finally said, noticing the time. My roommate will worry. Outside, Elijah hesitated. Can I call you? Maybe I can help with other restaurant connections. Zara almost laughed. I appreciate that, but Lumiere was my one shot at working with a Michelin-starred chef in this city. I'll be back to catering corporate events by next week. Don't give up so easily, Elijah said, his voice surprisingly intense. Sometimes the path we plan isn't the one we're meant to take. They exchanged numbers and Zara took the bus home, wondering why the day's disaster felt strangely like a beginning rather than an end. Her roommate Jade was waiting, already dressed for her night shift as an ER nurse. How'd it go? Did you dazzle Chef Grumpy Pants? I was 7 minutes late, Zara admitted, sinking onto their worn couch. He refused to see me. That pretentious jerk, Jade exclaimed, her curly hair bouncing with indignation. After all your preparation. It's okay, Zara said, surprised to find she partly meant it. I met someone interesting today. A man? Jade's eyes lit up with immediate interest. It's not like that, Zara insisted, though her cheeks warmed. He had a medical emergency and I helped translate. Then he tried to get me to the interview on time. Knight in shining Armani, huh? Jade teased. Is he cute? Zara threw a pillow at her friend. Go save lives and stop interrogating me. That night, as Zara stared at her ceiling, her phone chimed with a text from Elijah. Some opportunities close so better ones can open. Sleep well, Zara. She fell asleep wondering what opportunities a chance meeting in a spice shop might possibly bring. 3 days after the Lumiere disaster, Zara was back to her regular life, finishing a catering gig for a tech startup's product launch and sending out applications to every restaurant in Portland that might hire a chef with her qualifications. Her phone rang just as she was loading the last of the serving dishes into her car. Zara Chen speaking. Ms. Chen, this is Diana Powell from Westwood Enterprises. We're interested in discussing a private chef position with you. Would you be available for an interview tomorrow at 10 a.m.? Zara almost dropped her phone. Westwood Enterprises was one of the largest tech companies in the Pacific Northwest. May I ask how you got my information? Your resume was forwarded to us by a member of our executive team, Diana replied. We're quite impressed with your experience. Though confused, Zara wasn't about to question this stroke of luck. I'll be there at 10 a.m. sharp. The Westwood headquarters occupied a renovated industrial building downtown, its brick exterior contrasting with the sleek glass and steel interior. Diana, a polished woman in her 40s, greeted Zara warmly and led her through an impressive atrium filled with plants and natural light. Westwood has never had a private chef before, Diana explained as they walked. But our CEO believes that good food brings people together, and we're looking to enhance our workplace culture. The interview went surprisingly well. Diana asked thoughtful questions about menu planning, dietary accommodations, and Zara's approach to balancing nutrition and flavor. The salary mentioned was nearly double what Lumiere had offered. When can you start? Diana asked after reviewing Zara's portfolio. You're offering me the job now? Zara stammered. Diana smiled. Unless you've changed your mind?
No, I mean, yes, I accept.
I could start next week. Perfect. Just one more thing. Our CEO would like to meet you before you leave today. As Diana led her to the executive floor, a suspicion began forming in Zara's mind. It solidified into certainty when they entered a corner office and she found Elijah West sitting behind a massive desk. Thank you, Diana, he said, standing as they entered. Could you give us a moment? When the door closed, Zara crossed her arms. You're the CEO of Westwood Enterprises. Elijah nodded, looking slightly sheepish. I was going to tell you over coffee, but it never seemed like the right moment. Did you create this job because you felt sorry for me? The thought made her stomach twist uncomfortably. Absolutely not, Elijah replied firmly. The idea of having a private chef has been discussed for months. Your qualifications are exceptional, Zara. The only thing I influenced was making sure your resume reached the right people. Zara wasn't sure whether to be angry or grateful. Why? Because talented people deserve opportunities, he said simply. And because I owe you, not just for helping with my hypoglycemic episode, but for the interview you missed because of me. She studied him, trying to determine his true motives. I don't need charity, Elijah. This isn't charity. It's an opportunity you've earned. He gestured toward the window where the Portland skyline spread out below them. Take the weekend to think about it. If you decide this isn't what you want, I'll understand. That evening, Zara consulted with Jade over takeout Thai food in their apartment. Let me get this straight, Jade said, pointing her chopsticks at Zara. Hot tech guy is actually a CEO who created your dream job, and you're hesitating because what? Your pride is hurt? It's complicated, Zara protested. What if he's only doing this because he feels guilty? Or maybe he recognized talent when he saw it, Jade countered. Plus, have you considered he might just like you? Zara felt her cheeks warm. It's not like that. Jade's skepticism was palpable. Just take the job, Zara. You can always quit if it doesn't work out. Monday morning found Zara in Westwood's gleaming industrial kitchen, setting up her workstation for her first day. She had spent the weekend planning menus and researching the company's culture. Westwood was known for innovation in sustainable technology and treating its employees exceptionally well. Elijah appeared just as she was organizing her spices. I see you decided to accept. I did, Zara confirmed. But I want to be clear. I expect to be judged solely on my work. His smile was warm and genuine. I wouldn't have it any other way. Welcome to Westwood, Chef Chen. Over the following weeks, Zara found her rhythm at Westwood. She prepared healthy lunches for the staff, catered executive meetings, and even taught a weekly cooking class for interested employees. To her surprise, Elijah rarely took advantage of his position to seek her out, giving her space to establish herself independently. When they did interact, it was professional but friendly. She noticed how he remembered employees' names, listened attentively during meetings, and worked later than anyone else. This was not the privileged executive she had initially imagined him to be. One evening, as Zara was finishing a late catering job for the board of directors, Elijah appeared in the kitchen doorway. Everyone loved the food, he said, rolling up his sleeves and beginning to help with the dishes despite her protests. You don't have to do that, she insisted. You're the CEO, and you're the chef who just worked a 14-hour day, he countered, continuing to rinse plates. My grandmother would be appalled if I didn't help. As they worked side by side, Zara found herself relaxing. Tell me about your grandmother. His expression softened. She raised me after my parents divorced. Taught science at a community college and baked the best sweet potato pie in Seattle. She's the reason I started Westwood. She believed technology should help people, not replace them. She sounds wonderful. She would have liked you, Elijah said quietly. She valued kindness above all else. Their eyes met over the soapy water, and something shifted between them. A recognition of shared values and unexpected connection that neither had been looking for. 2 months into her position at Westwood, Zara had transformed the company's food culture. Employees lingered over lunches in the atrium, trading ideas and building connections. Her cooking classes were so popular they had a waiting list, and she'd begun featuring cuisines from employees' cultural backgrounds, creating a sense of community that resonated throughout the company. She and Elijah had settled into a comfortable professional relationship, though she couldn't deny the flutter in her stomach whenever he stopped by the kitchen to chat or sample a new dish she was developing. He respected her space and never leveraged his position inappropriately, which only made her admire him more. You're staring at him again, whispered Maya, the sous chef Zara had hired when the workload became too much for one person. Zara quickly averted her eyes from where Elijah stood across the atrium, deep in conversation with the engineering team. I was not. Sure, Maya replied with a knowing smile. Just like you didn't create his favorite dessert for the 3rd time this week. Before Zara could defend herself, her phone rang, a Portland area code she didn't recognize. This is Zara Chen. Ms. Chen. This is Pascal Beaumont from Lumiere. The familiar French accent made her freeze. I understand you missed our interview some months ago. I did, Zara confirmed, stepping away from the kitchen for privacy. There was unexpected construction. Yes, Chef Beaumont interrupted. I've reconsidered. One of my sous chefs is leaving unexpectedly, and I remembered your impressive portfolio. The position is yours if you still want it. Zara's mind reeled. The job she had dreamed of for years was suddenly being offered without another interview. May I ask what changed your mind? Let's just say a very persuasive investor suggested I reconsider my rigidity. Beaumont replied cryptically. You would start next month. The salary is competitive. Could I have a few days to think about it? Of course. Call me by Friday. Zara ended the call in a daze. Lumiere. The opportunity she'd thought lost forever. Yet the thought of leaving Westwood, leaving the community she'd built, leaving Elijah, she felt unexpectedly torn. Later that afternoon, Zara was reviewing invoices in her office when Diana Powell appeared in her doorway. Do you have a moment? Diana asked, her expression unusually serious. Of course. Is something wrong with the catering for tomorrow's event? Diana closed the door behind her. No, nothing like that. I consider us friends, Zara, which is why I think you should see this. She placed a financial report on the desk. It's the quarterly investment summary for our executive team. Zara scanned the document, confusion growing. I don't understand. Why are you showing me this? Look at the newest investment on page 3. Zara flipped to the indicated page and felt her heart drop. Listed among Westwood's recent investments was a 40% stake in Lumiere Restaurant, dated just 1 week earlier. Elijah bought into Lumiere, she said flatly. Diana nodded. I thought you should know, especially after Chef Beaumont called you today. How did you know about that? Elijah had me place the call to him last week, suggesting he reconsider you for the position. Diana's expression was sympathetic. He meant well, Zara. After Diana left, Zara sat motionless, emotions churning. Everything, her position at Westwood, the sudden offer from Lumiere, had been orchestrated by Elijah. What she had believed was her own merit had been, at least partly, his intervention. She found him in his office, reviewing designs for a new sustainable energy project. When he looked up and saw her expression, he immediately knew something was wrong. "You bought Lumiere," Zara stated, closing the door behind her. "And you pressured Chef Beaumont to hire me." Elijah set down his tablet. "I invested in Lumiere, yes. But I didn't pressure Beaumont. I simply suggested he reconsider his inflexible policies." "Why would you do that?" "Because you deserved that opportunity," he said simply. "You've talked about working with Beaumont since we met. I had the means to make it possible. So you've been managing my career all along?" Anger and hurt battled in her voice. "Creating positions, buying restaurants, pulling strings like I'm some charity project?" Elijah stood, frustration evident in his posture. "That's not what this is, Zara." "Then what is it?" "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been manipulating my life since the day we met." "I was trying to help," he insisted, moving around his desk toward her. "I never asked for your help." Zara stepped back. "I trusted you, Elijah. I thought what was happening between us was real." His expression softened. "It is real. Everything I feel for you is real, Zara. How can I believe that, when you've been hiding things and arranging my life behind my back?" "I should have been more transparent," he acknowledged. "But my feelings for you had nothing to do with creating opportunities. If anything, I created those opportunities to keep you near me because of how I feel." The admission hung in the air between them. Too honest to ignore, yet too complicated to simply accept. "I need time," Zara finally said, "to think about all this. About Lumiere, about Westwood, about us." Elijah nodded, respecting her space even as pain showed in his eyes. "Take all the time you need. Whatever you decide, Lumiere, Westwood, something else entirely, I'll support you. No strings, no intervention." As Zara left his office, she felt as though everything she had built over the past months was suddenly on uncertain ground. The career opportunity she had once desperately wanted now felt tainted, and the man she had grown to care for had revealed himself to be both more generous and more controlling than she had realized. That night, she sat on the fire escape outside her apartment, watching the city lights and trying to untangle her feelings. Jade joined her, offering silent companionship and eventually perspective. "People with power often think they can fix everything," Jade observed. "It doesn't mean his feelings aren't genuine. How do I know what's real anymore?" Zara asked. "My job, my career opportunities, they're all tied to his influence." "Your talent is real," Jade replied firmly. "No one can buy that. The question is, are his intentions worth forgiving?" A week of silence stretched between Zara and Elijah. She continued her duties at Westwood, and he respected her request for space. The deadline to respond to Chef Beaumont loomed, forcing Zara to confront what she truly wanted. On Thursday evening, after everyone had left the Westwood offices, Zara prepared a special meal and had it delivered to Elijah's office. The note attached simply read, "We should talk. Roof Garden, 8 p.m. The company's roof garden was Zara's favorite place, an urban oasis with herb planters, flowering vines, and a stunning view of the city. She had arrived early to set up a small table with candles and the meal she had prepared, dishes that told the story of their relationship so far. Elijah arrived precisely at 8, his expression a mixture of hope and uncertainty. He had changed from his usual suit to jeans and a simple button-down shirt, looking more vulnerable than she had ever seen him. "You came," Zara said, suddenly nervous despite having planned this encounter. "I would never miss a chance to talk with you." His voice was warm but careful, as if afraid of saying the wrong thing. Zara gestured to the table. "I made dinner. There's a story behind each dish." As they sat, she explained the first course, spiced tea and cardamom cookies, reminiscent of the market where they'd met. The second course featured local vegetables and herbs from the roof garden, representing her time at Westwood. For the main course, she had prepared a fusion dish that combined her Chinese heritage with French techniques, a symbol of the path not taken at Lumiere. "That depends on our conversation," Zara replied with a small smile. They ate in comfortable silence for a few moments before Elijah spoke. "I owe you an apology, Zara. I crossed lines I shouldn't have crossed. I thought I was helping, but I was controlling, and that was wrong. Yes, it was, Zara agreed. But I've been thinking about why you did it. About the kind of person who would buy a restaurant to create an opportunity for someone else. A presumptuous person, Elijah offered with a self-deprecating smile. A generous one, Zara corrected. Misguided, perhaps, but with good intentions. The question is whether you can accept that I need to make my own way, even if that means failing sometimes. Elijah nodded slowly. I can, I've learned my lesson. He hesitated before adding, Have you decided about Lumiere? I called Chef Beaumont yesterday, Zara confirmed. I turned down the position. Surprise flickered across Elijah's face. May I ask why? Zara reached across the table to take his hand. Because I realized something important. Lumiere was my dream because I thought it was the only path to proving myself. But what I've built at Westwood, the community, the connection between people through food, that's become more meaningful to me. And it happened because you saw potential in me that had nothing to do with prestigious restaurants. So you're staying at Westwood? Yes, but with some conditions. Zara straightened in her chair, her expression turning professional. First, I want to expand our community outreach. Cooking classes for underprivileged kids, meals for local shelters, that sort of thing. Done, Elijah agreed immediately. Second, I want complete creative control over my department. No executive interference, also reasonable. And third, Zara continued, her voice softening, I want to know if the CEO of Westwood Enterprises would be interested in dating his H.